Hello, a very good evening to you and welcome to What Med Media. I'm Dr Kishan Rees, as you all know, but for those of you who are joining, welcome and hello. There's no real agenda for the video this evening, really. I haven't got a script. What I wanted to do is have a chat and see how you guys were coping with lockdown. So if, as you join the video, you can tell me where you are, where you're from, what it's like where you are. I mean, I do have today's papers, which make interesting reading, and I haven't gone through them yet. So I think it'll be a good test from a point of view in terms of my brain injury recovery, like the blue light, the classical music. It'll be a good test to see how it goes. And also, I'm going to start a timer. Hey, John, how you doing? And Richard, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and keep this to time, maybe about half an hour, we'll see. And Sam Dunning, how you doing? Loving your LinkedIn stuff, your lives, they're very interesting. Hold on, let's get a timer. Here we go. So, I don't know. Where is it? Stopwatch. Here we go. So at least I know how long we're going for. So, tell me where... Oh, some noise outside. Tell me where you are. Comment, like, share. This is much more a chat than anything else. I do have a bit of filler in terms of newspaper content. The Daily Telegraph death toll graphs were wrong. Government forced to reissue key charts used to justify second lockdown after admitting projected fatalities were overstated. Now, I think we need to be really careful with this, and I don't think we should be politicising this. Yes, the response hasn't been optimal. I've gone out in public and said that the level of scientific communication has been shambolic. But equally, we do know that SARS-CoV-2 is incredibly transmissible, and SARS-CoV-1 has, the first version of SARS-CoV virus was lethal, right? So I'm reading a book at the moment by Michael Geiger, and it's called How to Survive a Pandemic. And Michael Geiger, in his book, is saying about how, let's hope that SARS-CoV-3 doesn't combine the lethality of SARS-CoV-1 and the transmissibility of SARS-CoV-2, right? So yes, the handling of this has been interesting, to say the least. It was incredibly... I just saw Richard's comment about Independent Sage. Put in the comments, tell me what it's like. What did you see? I didn't see that today because I was at work. Tony, Blackpool, very quiet right now. Strange for this kind of year. I'm enjoying the piece. Brilliant, Tony. I'm glad to hear that. That's good. Only 32 people watching. If you can share, it would be good. And tag people and comment. The more you do, the more people it will go to. And also, just it'd be nice to have a bit of interaction, liking, sharing, because I get a little stream of emojis, and that's quite good. So I guess what we need to be careful with this is, yes, we've got to remember that the first way that this was approached, I think it is a fact that the PM, Boris, missed, how many Cobra meetings was it? Can't remember. They didn't take it massively seriously. I think they're starting to now, and it helps in terms of the opposition, which is good. But anyway, let's see. Vanessa, can you say why my daughter has COVID but her husband and 2 children haven't got it? She was quite poorly, very bad cough for a couple of weeks, just curious. So obviously I can't comment on terms of individual cases and provide medical advice. So none of what I'm going to say can be construed or kind of articulated as that. But we can talk about principles in general, if that's helpful and if that's any good. Hold on. Isn't it less lethal because the low-hanging fruit will be harvested earlier? John, not necessarily. But going back to the sort of general principles in terms of why some people have it, some people haven't had it. The real problem with this disease, this virus, is it's got a significant period where you're asymptomatic. And there's also times where the testing window, you might not have symptoms and you might get tested and you might have it or you might not. I think that the key message really is if you have symptoms, go and get a test. We've seen the trials in Liverpool happening in terms of the army are being rolled out and they're starting it at the moment. I think it started today. And they're starting about doing 500,000 tests a day, I think they said, or something. I can't remember what the number was. But they're getting to a point where there's almost 3 ways out of this, right? vaccines that are safe, efficacious, and are appropriately tested, and that's why we need to be really careful to ensure that the science and the scientific method goes out into the mainstream and people understand the science. There's other therapeutics which may interfere with the virus or improve the body's reaction to the virus. And I forgot the third one. It's really bad. So I shouldn't. I'll go back. I'll get the comment. What was the 3 ways out of it? So the first way was vaccines. The second way was therapeutics. And the third way is it's not really a way out at the moment, but it's listening to what we're told to do, right? Hands, face, space, get a test. Can't be more clear than that. Okay, it's absolutely vital. Hand, space, face, get a test. It's just all this. The politicization of this is the thing that's going to divide us. And the virus doesn't care, right, whether you vote Conservative or Labour. The virus doesn't care whether you want to make a cheap political point in the media to sell some papers or to get some clicks. It honestly doesn't care. And the social media world that we're living in is basically driving people towards more polarised camps, okay? One over here, one over here. And that kind of central, middle ground, sensible, I would say, view is lost in that because we're living in a media environment that is literally whipping up one side, whipping up the other side. And we're seeing this playing out beautifully in the States with the election or not, or as it may be, of Trump, right? I don't know if you guys saw last night where he came out and it's on the What Med Media YouTube channel, the Sky News clip, but he literally came out. And he goes, yeah, if you count the legal votes, I won. And then it's like after that, the commentators, both UK and US commentators were saying, this is absolutely unprecedented territory, right? Absolutely unprecedented. We've never had a situation. Richard, thanks. I probably won't get a chance to watch it, but just do talk in the comments in terms of what it is. Vanessa, the tests aren't 100% accurate and can throw false negatives. Yes, Vanessa, they can. There are, I can't remember the numbers, I don't know exactly, but there are false positive and false negative rates. But it's incredibly important to even if don't get fixated. In the early days of this, what young people were doing were they were treating I think it was in Manchester, they were using the test as like some kind of morning after pill or service, right? They're going out, they're partying, then they're going to get a test, and if it's okay, then they're fine. If it's not okay, God knows what they did, right? That is morally irresponsible and socially dubious because, yes, all tests, not just COVID tests, but cervical cancer screening, breast screening, prostate, x-rays, anything. Any test that we do, we're only as good as how we can measure it. So there is a false positive and there's a false negative rate. And Andy's point in terms of terrible cough, sore throat, glands, feeling ill for 4 weeks, when I'm usually well, had 2 tests, come back negative, but I've had all the classic symptoms and laying up for 4 weeks and the fatigue is awful. I've had 2 different antibiotics just to cover an infection if bacterial, hoping I feel well soon as it's awful and can't work, can't make money either way, bad timing. Andy, I'm really sorry to hear that, and I'm really sorry to hear that you're going through that. But that just highlights the point, right? If you've got symptoms, whether the test is positive or negative, it doesn't really matter, right? Because we know that we're learning a lot about this disease. The testing isn't perfect. The NHS or the Serco, I don't know whether I'm making a cheap political point now. I don't think I am. I think it's factual. The Serco test and trace, I don't know what the latest numbers are. Hi, Jeanette, I'm all right, thanks. The latest numbers from Serco test and trace, I don't know. Can somebody help me out what they were? The last ones I heard were that they're actually contacting, was it 59% of people? Not entirely sure. But we could probably be doing a bit better than that. So 53 people watching, that's great. Thanks so much. My point about the media as well is try to switch off from it. I'm buying lots of papers, obviously, because I'm writing an MD on the use of media in the communication of and during a mass pandemic. But, I don't even, I turn the notifications off on my phone. I choose when I want to access media and news because this constant diet of 24,000 cases, the R's doing this, the R's doing that. It just creates a state of panic and unease, and it makes people unwell from a psychological point of view, right? Because that constant barrage and bombardment of information is not healthy for anybody. So I would say be aware of it, but don't be ruled by it, right? So yeah, I'm looking at we've got the Star, which I thought was quite good in terms of this is a bit of fun, stop the count, Donald Trump. Was quite interesting though in terms of like my comment, for those of you that are just joining. I said earlier in this that we've had fake news, and now we're moving into a world where pseudoscience is going to be even more dangerous, right? So all I can say is well done, Twitter, for basically contesting, and when Trump comes out with unsubstantiated claims and whipping up his militia on the streets, when Twitter blocks it, that's great. That's absolutely great. Richard, yeah. Okay, Doug, how you doing? Hope you're well. Claire, Elizabeth, hello, thanks for joining. I'm just going back, scrolling through the comments, seeing if there's anything. Not much, that's fine. So tell me where you are, tell me where you're watching. 40 people watching. I'm going to try and keep this short and sweet. Let's see what the timer's gone to. Hold on. 10 minutes. So I'm only going to hang around probably for another 10 minutes, unless it hits like 100 plus people, and then I might stay for a bit longer. Hello, Lorraine. Hope you're well in Warrington. This social media is a great thing, right? It's a great way out of this. We can communicate with each other. We can communicate in safe ways. Please keep your questions coming in. Hello, Edith. This is, like I said, this is more an interaction. This is not a one-way dialogue, monologue, broadcast. This is a chat, right? This is the first time I've sat down today because I have a standing desk. I don't really have a standing desk. I've got a shelf with some books propped up on it that I put my laptop on. But anyway, and I'm just sitting here, chilling out in my room. Basically, hi, David. I hope you're well. Basically, with the blue light on. And when I turn this off, I'll put some classical music on. Just to reprogram some of the neurons in my brain to make myself a bit better. So if you guys can tell me what it's like where you are and what your questions are, that would be the best use of time, I would suggest, and the 10 minutes. Because I understand, right? There's deja vu. We just felt like we were getting back to normality, and we didn't, and then it's just shut down. Great source of info. Oh, cheers. Tony, that's very kind. Hello, Gavin. I wonder how you're feeling about the American election results. I think it's fascinating to watch, and I think whoever gets the most votes and the electoral college votes wins, right? Whether that's Trump or Biden, right? I think you guys can probably guess who I support and who I personally would like to win, but I think we've got to uphold democracy. It is scary. Do listen to some soothing radio programs. Yes, I would agree. What ones do you suggest, Jeanette? So people are quite quiet, and understandably so, right? Because there's this element of shell-shocked nature. We've got to look at how this has been handled from March. And one thing that I've been telling my friends and family and stuff, I saw some very interesting data to suggest that the Eat Out to Help Out scheme caused an 18% rise in cases. Not everywhere. They overlaid weather data onto that data, and areas where it rained didn't lead to an increase. So if it was sunny and it was a Monday, Tuesday or Wednesday and the Eat Out to Help Out scheme was used, those areas had a 18% uptick in COVID transmission. And certainly just today, whilst I'm not going to go into details, colleagues, friends and family, I've heard cases off and spoken to. So one of these things is it only becomes real when it's something that sounds great idea, Vanessa. That's exactly what I did cycling until I came off with my uncontrolled dismount. April Mitchell Hughes. Hello, welcome. That's a new name. Haven't seen you before. Lots of other familiar names. So that's great. Thank you for joining. But yeah, it's home gym, trying to keep fit, mental health, physical health, absolutely vital during this. And I can help share some of the things that I did in terms of if that's helpful. Tell me if that would be like. Yes, Mumkins, I completely agree. We need to be mindful from a mental health point of view. But, you know, what I would say is physical health and mental health are entwined, right? One to one. And a really simple practical example, right? Last night, up working late till midnight. Shouldn't be. My neurologist, if he watched this video, would be very upset with me. And then I got up at 7 because I'm doing interesting work, really cool, really into it, want to do it, right? And I'm feeling it now. I'm honestly feeling it now. I've got a bit of a headache. I had to wear my ice cap this morning. The difference being, though, is if I get 9 hours sleep, good as gold, right? Really, really good. Well done, Richard. Keep 2 meters apart from them, obviously. Walking group is great. You might have seen Michael Gove recently in the media talking about what kind of exercise is permitted and what kind of exercise isn't permitted. I do think that if you look at the basic principles on this, we should be upskilling members of the public to act in a safe and responsible way, right? Rather than banning one thing in one way. How do we keep on top of anxiety? Okay, Lorraine, that's a really good question, and thank you for that. I would really value questions, and all I can do is I can share what my experiences were and see if that helps, right? So to be anxious living through a pandemic is 100% normal. At the beginning of this, I'm not going to lie, there's videos of me out there where I'm in tears talking to you guys about this. When I was told that, firstly, by Boris, that we have to get used to losing loved ones early, I didn't really think that that was appropriate in terms of, firstly, it was a bit of a fait accompli. It's almost like giving up. And like 1 minute, he's telling us we need to take it on the chin and just, take it on the chin and let the virus sort of move through the population. Take it on the chin, as he said to Holly and Phil on This Morning, right? So 1 minute he's saying that, but then the other minute he's saying that we need to get used to losing loved ones early. And then also senior leaders, though you'll see a video of me in Canterbury Park early on in this, where senior leaders in medical field came out and said that, medical profession also need to get used to burying their colleagues, right? Now, Lorraine, that obviously is enough in my mind to make me anxious in the early days of this back in March, right? So I was in tears. I was crying myself to sleep. I was petrified that one of my family members who's high risk wasn't going to go to work. But then it was a case of looking at what do I have in my kind of toolkit, in my capability, in my control. And one of the most useful things that I found for managing that anxiety is, yes, I'm very grateful to have medical training that you guys, the taxpayer, funded for me. And that's why this is free. So I'm very grateful for that. And I appreciate that not everybody has that knowledge and that training to kind of seek solace from an anxiety point of view. But what I do get, what I do think everybody has and can get to manage anxiety is I read some really interesting literature on when things are out of your control, if you can focus on ritual and routine and things that you can do and you can control in your own little area. There's a great book somewhere, I don't know where it was, I could show you a little diagram, but if you can control the things that are in your area, in your control, you will then go on and feel more in control, and it gradually increases, right? So the article that I read about was about ritual and routine, and I look back and I think about my cycling in the early days of this, and literally I'd get up early, not a great sign. Early morning awakening, not brilliant. That's something that you want to stamp out if you can, because your body, every single cell in the body, has a clock, and it likes routine and structure. So I'd get up early, and the ritual that I would take was I would get changed in exactly the same way. I'd put my skins on, I'd put my layers on, I'd put my fleece on, my knee pads, my cycling gear, and then I'd go out and cycle. And that started at 2 kilometers, then it went to 20 kilometers, and then 40, and then 80. And then, I built up 20 kilometers a day, my one exercise a day. I got really, really super fit. And then now that routine is kind of gone because it's just muscle memory. It's just routine. It just happens. So I've certainly found that incredibly helpful, and control the things you can control. Switch off from the stuff that you have no control over, i.e. some of the mess and the scientific shambles in the papers and online. And then, that's what helped me. What do you guys think? Michelle, I'm trying to get up at pretty much the same time every day and getting dressed and having a structure to my day, which includes exercise, yoga, running, Pilates, yoga lattes. That sounds good. What's that? drinking latte while you yoga. No, I don't think it is. It's probably a mix between yoga and Pilates, isn't it? I am learning French, nice, on the Duolingo app. Also cooking recipes, trying to focus on things in life I'm grateful for. Great. 100%. Hi, Sue. Hi, Andrea. Hi, Pooja. You're so right how regarding routine and exercise can help. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I'm glad that you think I'm right. That's good, because I'm always going to be judged by you guys in terms of, if you think I'm putting out content that you disagree with, just say, right? Just discuss, argue, right? Is fear being used to control us, John? No, I would suggest. And I'll come on to that in a second. It's a really good point, though. So the other thing that we need to think about, and I'm doing, is I'm really lucky, right? I can afford this. It's an Aura ring. And this is measuring my sleep. So at the end of every day, at the beginning of every morning, hey, Candy, you're right, running. And every morning I wake up and so, friends, family, loved ones say, how did you sleep? And now there's a far, far bigger interest, right, in terms of asking how I sleep, because they know that my brain recovery is going to be better the better that I sleep. So it's like a natural, caring, kind of loving thing, right? And I've got to the point now where I go, I don't know, let me just check my Aura ring, which gives me a breakdown of REM sleep, light sleep and deep sleep, and it gives me a score. And it gives me actually 2 scores, one for sleep and one for readiness. So this is part of my biohacking that I'm doing, where I'm exploiting my physiology and biology and pushing my body to the absolute limits in terms of getting as fit as I can. So I've lost 15 kilos, which is good, generally from a health point of view, as well as potential COVID. I've cycled 1,800 miles. And that, because I got myself into a good physical state of fitness, when I had my brain injury and I had a bleed in my temporal lobe, that meant that I've bounced back. I didn't quite bounce back when I hit the pavement. I needed to be scooped up and taken to the hospital, right? But the physical fitness that I built up was an investment. And I would say the same is true for COVID. I would say the same is true for COVID, in the sense that the fitter you can be, the better sleep that you can get, the more exercise that you get, and the more grateful that you are for stuff, the better it is. So I'm going to come to John's comment in a minute because I can remember it. Lynn, I've got, don't watch any news, do some guided breathing each day. Yeah, breathing. That's another thing, actually, which is really good. Aerofit was something that I bought because I'm saving loads of money. I'm not commuting. I'm very lucky. I don't have to commute. So Aerofit is a respiratory trainer that strengthens your diaphragm. I got one for my mum as well. I lost mine. And I've stopped using it because now, ironically, I've learned how to breathe, right? Sounds silly, but we're actually not particularly good at breathing properly. Oh, no, Lynn, had a complete breakdown this summer. Anxiety levels through the roof. Any advice gratefully received. Lynn, I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm not sure whether you've just joined. If you have just joined, afterwards, this video will be up. And you can watch back and there's loads of stuff, and then message me, leave some comments, whatever. We can pick up if there's some other questions. But I'm really sorry to hear that. And I don't think, I know you're not alone. And the best thing that we can do is get to know people in the chat in here. The more you chat to each other, the more you just have meaningless conversations. Hello, how are you? Are you okay? Yes, I'm okay. What do you think about this? The more conversations you do, the more Facebook will serve this up to people, and the more reach we will get. Over the last 28 days, it's kind of limited as well, right? Which is a shame, because I can remember back in the days when, a page of 25,000 followers would get to, 4, 5, 600 viewers at a time. And now it's capped at 10% of that, like it's 400, right? Or even less than 10%. So I would use the comments to talk to each other and get to know each other and make friends on this, right? I certainly think that the stranger danger narrative is something that I would just ignore, and I would suggest that it's better to get through as a group, a community, a society, in terms of the enemy that's in front of us, which is COVID, right? So I hope that kind of helps. I'm going to go back to John's comment about, is fear being used to control us? No, I don't think it is. I think it's a byproduct of poor scientific communication, people not understanding stuff, the trust. Oh, okay, going off to watch Have I Got News For You. Okay, I'm going to go and watch that as well. That's a great idea, Richard. So I suggest you all go and watch Have I Got News For You. That is the news that is good and is appropriate. I think it's also 20 minutes. Karen says something. I think this virus is something we will all have to learn to live with. Take precautions, be safe as we can, but get used to a different way of life. I think you summed it up, right? I think if you look at the aviation industry, their forecasts and their projections are not set to get better until 2024. So I think investing in getting used to this new way of life. Remember right at the beginning, they did say it was the new normal, right? And my take on that is how do we modify and make that new normal as positive as we possibly can, right? So I think that might even be 20 minutes. Yeah, it's 24 minutes. It's just under half an hour. So I'm going to go in a second. 39. Thanks, John. I'll try. And how are you doing from the skiing point of view, right? Are you going skiing? I don't know where it is. I've got a pile of papers that I need to kind of sort out. But I bought the National Geographic and it's like winter holidays and stuff. So I thought of you when I saw that. Because I would quite like to go skiing, but not anytime soon. Is it here? No. This place is an absolute tinderbox of books and papers, basically. So, Alex, how you doing? I was just going to go, but now Alex is watching. Even better, so I might stay. But equally, Have I Got News For You is starting at 9 o'clock, Richard Hoffman has said to us. So I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to keep it short. The people that have been watching What Med Media over the last 28 days, we have got to 1.8 million people, the posts on this page, right? 1.8 million people over the last 28 days. That is a media company, right? I said 6 years ago that when I started the What Med stuff, I wanted to build a media company. It'd be slightly different. I got a lot of kickback from certain people in the BMA and certain medical professionals saying that, oh, Kish just wants to build a media company. Yeah, I do. Sorry about that. Doesn't make any money. It's a terrible company from that perspective. But it was never about that, right? It was about getting the word out, getting reach, getting kind of knowledge to people, right? So we're doing that. Together we're doing that. Of that 1.8 million people, we have had 185,000 post engagements, right? So the amount that you would have to pay Facebook to get that is a significant amount of money, right? So we are having positive change. I was honestly touched. Good evening, Julie. I was touched when you guys, when all I mentioned, like I made a flippant comment about not wanting to murder a member of my family because I didn't want to go into the house, right, when I went to visit a grandparent. And I was like, God, I didn't really, there's no filter there, right? Normally I would never say that broadcasting. And then that kind of, I was shocked by the response of kind of the outpouring of affection that I got in terms of my head injury. There was a few comments in terms of negativity, in terms of you shouldn't say that, you're scaremongering. And I understand that I shouldn't say that, and that's why I kind of corrected it. But what I did was I started practicing again. So I'm learning again how to do this, believe it or not. And I've got a whole series of hidden 5-minute videos that one day we will turn into some kind of documentary for people suffering from traumatic brain injury, right? So I guess what I'm saying is What Med Media is something that's very special to my heart. We've been doing it for 6 years on social media. On the 4th of November, I hit my 4-year anniversary for the first time I went on Sky, which was 1,456 days ago, a little bit more now, maybe 1,458, but who's counting? And, you know, you have been with me from the beginning of that journey. You've been sharing this stuff. You've been supporting me and the causes, whether it be junior doctors, NHS, and now all this COVID stuff. So together we can make a difference, but we just need to rally round. We need to follow the guidance and the advice and not be stupid about it in terms of, you know, being anti-maskers and like protesting. I think there's a lot of distrust of our political class, understandably so, because of the scandals, whether it be expenses, various other scandals, sleaze, whatever. You get the leaders you deserve. And also, I kind of look at levels of competence across the board, and I kind of wonder in some places. But they are the leaders that we've got. And we need to take personal responsibility as well, so that everything that we do in our society is not infecting people and making ourselves sick, right? So I'm going to follow Richard's advice. I'm going to catch Have I Got News For You. Hopefully Phil Hammond's on it. I haven't seen him on that for a while. That'd be good if he is. Thank you so much for watching. We are reaching loads of people. There is a GoFundMe page somewhere for Facebook ads. If you want to go and dig that out and find that, any contributions would, thank you, Hayley, any contributions would be gratefully received. They are 100% going to Facebook ads for this content. That is it. I've got the data, I've got the kit, I've got the time, I've got the knowledge, I spend time reading this. I really enjoy this as well, right? So you're not paying for any of that. You are just paying so that we can pay Facebook, as unfortunately, but it's the only medium that we've got to get out there, to send adverts out to people. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves and each other. Have a lovely weekend. I might pop up over the weekend because I'm just sitting here reading papers and writing, and I might go out for a walk. So it kind of depends on what the news is, and even if I watch it and listen to it. But certainly if anything pops up that I feel the need to let you guys know, I will. Please tell your friends, family, colleagues about What Med Media. Check us out on YouTube. Go and find the GoFundMe page if you can and you can afford to. If you can't, don't worry about it. Just like, share and comment. Thank you very much for your half an hour of your Friday evening, and I will see you really, really soon. Cheers. Take care. Bye.